I'm so excited to be here at this magnificent historic house, Constable Burton, here in Yorkshire. And I'm just about to meet my really good friends, Darcy and Imogen Wyvill. During my visit, I am spellbound by the Georgian-inspired interior decoration.
There are 11 paint colours in this room.
11?
11, so you can see, the beading and the framework, so it's quite amazing.
I visit a beautiful area of the estate where Darcy and Imogen are following their dreams.
So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a destination so that people can come here from, generally all around the world.
Welcome to the drawing room here at Mapperton. Although this room is part of the Tudor wing of the house, it does have the character of the 18th century with paneling and furniture of the Georgian period. So many historic homes that I visit are remodeled as fashions and architectural styles change over the generations. Recently, I visited the most beautiful Georgian country house in North Yorkshire, Constable Burton Hall. Home to the Wyvill family since the 16th century, it was once an Elizabethan house, but reimagined in 1768. Hello. Hello.
Come on in.
Goodness. It's so wonderful to be here. And who's that?
That's our welcome committee. That's Minna.
So nice to see you. So nice to see you. So nice to see you.
Hi,
Hello,
Minna.
hello,
How are
hello.
you?
Nice to see you.
Nice
Wow.
to see you too. Welcome. Lovely, lovely day.
Thank you for
Amazing day.
bringing the sun just
Yeah,
for me,
it's
right?
amazing. Yeah, it's a proper Yorkshire day today. Welcome.
Gosh, it's so wonderful to finally actually be here. I know we've always had this plan, like I'm going to come and see you, and
I know.
finally I'm in Yorkshire, which
Yeah.
is brilliant with the sun and Minna.
What a joy. I know.
It's
I
so
know.
beautiful.
She's the star of the
The
show.
matriarch.
And look at, wow, I've got more of a welcoming committee right there.
That's Luna,
I know.
and that's
Oh,
Stella at
Stella.
the back. Mother and daughter.
Yes. Luna is the mother, Stella's the daughter.
And there's a whippet running
There
around
is a witness
somewhere.
puppy
Oh
somewhere.
my goodness.
I know. I know.
Oh, good.
And,
Well done.
and 3 children.
And 3 children.
Three children, yeah.
Right, right.
3 children, 4 dogs, and
Right.
one old house.
And one old house. So tell me about this wonderful old house. Right.
Originally, it was we think, a medieval hunting lodge, and this house passed through from generations from the 1590s. The first big house was built here,
Okay.
which was Elizabethan in style. The family story goes that one of my descendants wanted to get some reparations made to that house. They went away to go and do a job in Scotland. They left plans with a young architect called John Carr of York, who's probably now one of Yorkshire's most famous architects,
Yes.
to get some reparations done on the house. And he came back a year and a half later, and he was on his horse being followed by his servants, and he said, "Where's my house?" And they came back, and it had been demolished to the ground floor.
No.
Yeah. It was rebuilt.
A little miscommunication,
Oh,
Yeah. So
to put it mildly. Can you imagine that moment?
right. And do you have a picture of the original house?
we do actually, yeah. This is the kit drawing here. So we think original house sits pretty much on the footprint of the old house.
Okay.
The lawn out there on the left-hand side is the large lawn out there. There were some formal gardens running down to the little stream, which is all back there. The lakes are behind the house here.
Right. And you still have the lakes?
They are there. They're not octagons like
Right,
that,
right.
but there is a lake there.
Yep.
So there's always a bit of artistic license in these drawings because they're trying to get everything into the landscape, so the topography is not spot on. However, the Lime Avenue, which is going up there, is
Yes.
still here. So that's what it looked like.
So then this was flattened or pulled down? or
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
And when
I
he
think
arrived,
literally the ground level foundation was here.
Yeah.
was here.
And that was it.
That was it. So they decided to go around a major redesign on it. We're talking in the Georgian era.
Okay.
And of course, the style, which was the Palladian style,
course.
because the aristocracy of the time were going off to do the Grand Tour, and all these European influences are coming back to the UK, and so was the architectural side of that as well. So
Yes.
this house was then rebuilt in the Georgian style, finished in 1768, and we've been here as a family, before and ever since.
I never, oh my goodness. Constable Burton has the most intimate and relaxed atmosphere of almost any historic house I've visited. As soon as you arrive, you feel you're being invited into a loving family home. Its beautifully decorated and preserved interior is the result of years of hard work by Darcy and Imogen and Darcy's parents during their tenure at the Hall.
This house is in pretty good nick.
Yeah.
When my parents took it over, it was not in good nick. They were fairly young when they came up here. There'd been a lady who'd been living in the house as a sitting tenancy between my grandfather's death and my father taking over.
Right.
And so apparently the roof had holes in it and there was water damage in most of the rooms. She'd actually was just living in the drawing room, which she'd made into her apartment. And a lot of the works of art had been taken out and they'd been stored in the stables, badly stored in the stables. And so when my parents decided that they were going to come up and make a go of this, they had to set around doing a large renovation on the place.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When Imogen and Darcy moved into the Hall in 2016, much of the major renovation work had been completed, but they were faced with modernizing this impressive Georgian building.
You know, the sort of plumbing and the heating and
the less attractive
and
jobs.
you know, all that kind of stuff. Which is
And the
not,
ones that nobody knows too much about, which is why it's always nice to say, we did this and
Yes,
that,
we did
because
all
it's invisible.
Right. So we took over Mapperton about the same time as you, so
Yeah.
2016,
Yeah.
the two of you. And one of the first things we did that nobody sees is the copper piping.
right.
Yeah.
So got rid of all the lead
Yeah.
piping and did the copper piping, but nobody sees that. And then we ended up doing a sort of a biomass boiler to heat it. You know, it's all the stuff that people don't see. But it was
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
But
we
you
run the
future-proof
house
it
off a biomass boiler.
Yeah.
We get the wood off the estate,
course.
and so sort of innovation of that kind of things is really important, actually.
Yeah.
And back in the day, these houses were completely self-sufficient in their own right anyway.
Exactly.
So we feel like we've gone on a bit of a journey, and we're doing the same with our water. We've got boreholes here, so we've got our own heat, we've got our own water. You know, at some stage the technology is moving, and I'm sure we'll be able to do something with the electricity side of things
Yeah.
as well.
As homeowners, we must innovate and do all that we can to make these historic houses adaptable and sustainable for life today and beyond. Historic Houses is the association that owners of these stunning houses and gardens all join to help us figure out how to look after these wonderful places. We need their advice and guidance on everything, from restoration to running a business to renewable energy. And you can become a Historic House member to enjoy these places, but also to help the ongoing work to preserve the buildings for the future. If you're coming to Britain, you can use your membership to visit many of the houses we feature on the American Viscountess channel. But you can also enjoy other benefits, including the quarterly magazine, online lectures, and insights into a typical day in the life of an owner too. There are invitation to view tours available for Historic House members at Constable Burton. And I couldn't wait to explore and see how Imogen and Darcy have updated the Georgian interiors.
So this is the library. In its modern guise, this is what this is. It's an after-dinner relaxing room, originally being the library. It would have been obviously for working and reading in. Now, this was the only room that when we renovated it, we changed the paint scheme in here because it would have been white as possible, to lend lots of light so you could read via the natural light that was coming in. Funny story, the wallpaper's original.
Is it?
Victorian
Lovely.
original.
Right.
I think it's called Strawberry Hill.
Strawberry Hill, yeah. It's also found in the Houses of Parliament. Well, Imogen came in with this paint palette, and I brought my parents up here, and it had been a very white room beforehand, and we walked in, and I came in here with my mum and dad, and I said, so what do you think? And they said, well, Darcy, it's very sex, drugs, and rock and roll, isn't it?
It's perfect.
Yeah, so
it's the perfect color scheme for this room.
So this room we're going to go into next is called the morning room. And in its current guise, it's actually my study.
Fantastic.
Which I share.
Do you share it with your husband?
I don't share with my husband.
I'm about the only
Actually,
person
you know
who's not
what?
allowed in here.
When we moved in, I did think that we might have, what they call a partner desk. Well, this is a partner desk, and I
Yes.
did wonder whether we might sit opposite one another, and then I quickly realised that was a terrible idea.
Right.
And that we might not be still here today if that was the case. But no, so this is where I sit and manage things. And ever since COVID, I share the space with my son, who this was his little homeschooling area, and he's retained it.
But also, it's really comfortable.
It's a beautiful room.
It's
a
beautiful.
beautiful
And
scale.
this color then, did you have consulting
So
around that?
So all of these rooms that we're going to walk through now are all in the exact colour scheme.
The
that the Georgians would
1768
have
colour
used.
scheme, yeah.
Have you ever dreamed of staying in one of the UK's grand castles or stately homes with a group of family or friends? When I lived in America, it was always a dream of mine. The UK is brimming with them. There's a treasure trove of rich history, royal connections, and extraordinary stories. The allure of joining this world was irresistible. Fast forward to today, and I've ended up living in one of these remarkable homes. I realize that I've been lucky. However, even if that hadn't happened, I could still have made my dream come true with the help of Storied Collection, and now you can too. Storied Collection offers exclusive hire of private estates and castles across the United Kingdom and Ireland, where the historical significance and legacy of each property are carefully preserved. And guess what? Mapperton is now officially a member of Storied Collection too. The historic houses in Storied Collection have been meticulously selected to provide the highest standards of accommodation and service, as well as unforgettable stories. Moreover, they offer a range of experiences, whether you're an avid fisherman, a golf enthusiast, or simply someone who delights in owner-guided tours. So if you're planning a large family gathering or a thrilling adventure with friends, a retreat with business colleagues, or perhaps your wedding, you can now make it happen in one of these homes, and it's much more affordable than you think. With an extraordinary variety of castles, manors, and stately homes available, this truly is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so don't let it slip away. Mention Julie when booking for £1,000 off any stay 5 nights or longer. So click the link in the description down below to discover and book the historic house of your dreams. Oh, wow.
So
This is my kind of color.
Yeah, so this is a very beautiful colour that was actually mixed specifically for this house. And it's called Mallory Blue. And it's actually a sort of very pale blue undercoat,
Right.
and then stippled on with a wire brush into this sort of dark. And you can see the kind of variation in the colour. So as the natural light fades, the beautiful sort of evening glow of the lamps and the chandelier, there's actually a real warmth in this blue, which is, you wouldn't necessarily expect, and it really makes the gilding of the frames pop.
One of the John Carr sort of architectural designs was to have a thin line at the top of above the frieze and the ceiling. So that's meant to sort of draw your eyes up to the ceiling.
Wonderful. And I can see, of course, you use this room because dotted all around are sort of photographs, family, children.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And that's what's, I think, so fascinating about these historic houses that are privately owned, lived in, but of course, open to the public when they need to be, or for events. I can see you're having an event here. There's a big marquee outside, but that they're lived in. And so that the living history continues with us so that the next generation can tell stories about you. And that's what's so wonderful. It continues. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So often, as we get older, we really start to appreciate the history of our surroundings. So I asked Darcy, was he always aware of the historical value of his childhood home?
Even when you're kind of growing up in these places, you're not necessarily paying much attention to everything. And certainly that was in my case. And then when I came back from my job in London and I was starting to think about moving in here and living in here, and my father would do the house tours, and he's the sort of living, breathing historian of the family. And suddenly I realized that I had to get up to speed quickly, smarten up. And then, of course, from that, then the interest starts to come in the furniture and the paintings. And, we always say that we're just in these houses just to hold on to them or hand them on to the next generation. We're custodians of our time.
Yes.
One would like to think that you are going to move these houses on to the next generation. That's the goal, that's the dream.
Yes.
And, we're lucky, this house, even though like lots of other houses, there have been moments of where it's been hanging on a thread.
Yeah.
And we've had to marry a cousin or two or done something like that in order to keep it together. It is still here. And they need to sing for their supper. They need to work. They have to put money into the coffers. The trade-off of living in one of these beautiful houses is that there is a second side of that, which is we have to make it work. We have to monetize that. And
of course.
That's just part of the deal.
That's how these historic houses are. I mean, they are survivors, but we've come into an era where, gone are the days of, they were surviving because there was a lot of staff here and, the people who are living on the estate sort of worked here. And this was, in one sense, their village. That was it. Yeah. We've completely evolved. Times have changed. And in order to preserve these historic houses, we do need to have events. We do need to open up occasionally or all of the time, just depending, and, weddings, whatever it is, to continue to fix the roof, or to look at the color palette and the colorway.
It is a great house for entertaining. We do a lot of we have a lot of private clients staying in the house, and I think that's one of the lovely things about this house is that the scale of it dictates the size of the party staying. So we don't do sort of vast weddings for hundreds, but the house is a really wonderful entertaining space. The dining room next door, that you'll get another feel for that. We use not like this, but we do use for breakfast, lunch and dinner as a family.
Do you?
Sunday lunch, we'll have lunch
brilliant.
in here. If it's just us as a small family, we'll sit at the table in the window. But this is where we have Christmas, this is where we have all of our family occasions. But again, these are the original Georgian colours. There are actually
I love 11, the door.
There are 11 paint colours in this room.
11.
So you can see, the beading and the and the framework. So it's quite amazing. And my father-in-law was the first one to go down this route in this room, and he wasn't convinced when he got presented with the colours. He thought it was a bit outrageous, the dark paint ceiling, and so he actually painted up a full panel before he committed.
Okay.
Just to be sure. And actually, it's such a success. Again, as the light dims, it's really, really atmospheric in the evening with the candles and the crystals and the silverware. So it's really magical.
And the furniture in here is original. This is a Gillow Imperial table. Gillow of Lancaster was one of the great furniture makers. Used the same sort of time as Chippendale. We've got a lovely Gillow sideboard at the top here. These urns were actually they're lead lined and they're wine coolers. It's very, very nice to have the original furniture here, and that's part of the journey of owning these houses. You pick up these nuggets and you speak to other people, and some people sometimes you just look at a table and you think it's a table. Actually, once you get to the history of it all and it becomes part of the fabric of the house.
Exactly, and the craftsmanship that goes into these pieces.
This is our inner hall, and obviously the wonderful cantilever staircase in here, and that job is to lead your eyes up to the roof. And so we've got these lovely demi-lunette windows that let in a sort of different angles of light during the day, and leading up to some of the bigger pictures in the house. These are sort of big, Reformation pieces,
Yes.
The 1540s, that kind of era.
Wow, how wonderful. But then, of course, you've got, you are living here, and what was wonderful to hear is that and I can see that you use all of these rooms.
Yeah.
Which is how these houses should be used.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I mean, obviously, some of the rooms where we've got some of the nicer pieces of furniture and things, we've had to put blue tack underneath things to stop balloons and bouncy balls and scooters.
Ball games in the house, darling.
No ball games in the house. But generally,
listening.
you can't live in a house like this and be too fussy about
No.
kids and dogs and all that kind of wear and tear. It's just part of the fabric.
It's part of the fabric.
And once in a while you can get in, you can give the place a lick of paint, and off you go again. So
Yeah.
we are very conscious that we don't want our children to be constrained by feeling like they're living in a monument.
Right.
They're
They
living.
really
they're,
don't.
they're at home.
I don't
I
think
don't think they do. I don't get that feeling.
No, I don't think they do either.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for
All
this
right.
sort of whistle-stop circuit tour. I think it's, really wonderful. Darcy and Imogen have combined comfortable modern family life with Georgian splendor at Constable Burton. And that extends out into the park as well. Well, we're now leaving your beautiful house. Tell me where we're going.
So this is the Lime Avenue. This is one of my favourite places in the gardens. This was actually on the original Kip drawing and led away to the, now leads up to our kitchen gardens. And the trees in here are over 400 years old. They're European limes. And this is a really magical time of year to come and visit them because it's like a sort of cathedral. They all meet in the middle. Obviously, avenues are very much part of the British landscape.
Yes.
And we're very lucky to have one. And it just brings its own vibe, this place. You walk into it, everything dulls down, you get this wonderful dappled light coming through at this time of year. In the spring, this is all full of daffodils, and then we just let it go. So it's full of cow parsley and dock leaves and wild garlic and bluebells and cyclamen.
The smell is amazing.
And you walk in here and everything kind of it's a very sort of very cool part of the gardens. This was the start of the pleasure gardens. And when you get up to the top here, you are dropping into the forests and the trees and the really wild parts of the estate. So it's kind of formal and functional meets wild.
Yes,
and it's
exactly.
just a really lovely part
And
of it.
it's extraordinary though when because these are, you said, what, 400 years old? Is that
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
look at how they're perfectly spaced.
Yeah, we're very, very lucky to have them. And the forethought in the planting here, I mean, you can imagine you're going to plant this avenue, you're never going to see it. When you plant it, it's going to be, I don't know, like it's going to get to like 10 meters in 50, 60 years. And here it is now, 400 years later, and it's probably now at its very, very best. So thank you to those that came before us. We are undertaking a big planting scheme on the estate. We've planted over 20,000 trees here over the last 4 years. And so we're, as we know, the trees are the lungs of the planet.
Yes.
And we all need to be planting more of them. But they're very rare to find veteran trees. And these are a great example of that.
Look at this light.
Yeah, great sun.
Oh
great
my
sun.
goodness.
So this is another area here, which is our ponds. So there's the ice house over here. So they dug these ponds to create the ice to put in the ice house to chill the food, to keep it fresh. So this
And you
is
still
a
have the ice
beautiful
house.
area.
Still got the ice house,
you can see it.
Oh my gosh, it's perfectly in condition now.
Yeah.
It's in pretty good condition. They
Little
always
sort of
had a...
Monet-esque Giverny.
This is, what am I looking at down here?
So these are two ponds side
Oh
by
right,
side.
I see.
And actually there's some beautiful rhododendrons here. There's another gorgeous little area of the garden that you don't necessarily expect. These beautiful buttress walls here,
Oh
which
my
are
gosh.
normally covered in roses.
I
They're
feel
not
like I'm
quite
in like the
here
secret
yet.
garden right now. Oh my goodness.
Amazing.
When I was just viewing that from a top, that's why I thought it was just sort of growing from the earth, but it's clearly coming up from the pond here. This is sensational.
Yeah, it is. So these ponds were meant to be very shallow. So the idea is that they would take off the ice and they would take it into the chamber there. That doorway there, facing there, is always north facing, so it gets the cold air straight into it. When you go into the little channel, there's a big bulb behind it, and then it drops down about 30 feet into that. And what they would do is take layer after layer after a layer of ice off. They'd stack it up all the way up to the top, and then over the winter and through the summer, the ice would gradually melt, and basically it's a Georgian fridge.
Right, it's a Georgian fridge.
Yeah.
This is
Genius.
Genius. Imogen and Darcy have big plans for Constable Burton. They are literally following their dreams.
This part of the Yorkshire Dales is one of the great tourist attractions anyway. When I was growing up here as a little boy, the road that goes at the bottom of the drive there used to have no traffic on it at all. Now it's busy. My father in 1975 started a caravan park, which has been a great little business. And when we came up and we started looking at the estate and seeing what we could do and where we could make our mark, that was a natural place to look towards.
Okay.
Because there was already a business there. We knew that there was enough throughfare, enough business coming up into the area, which we're very lucky about. Although we are still remote, there's still a lot of people who come on their holidays in the Yorkshire. It is a national park.
Yes.
And so we've been in development for the last 4 years on a new tourism business. And we're very excited that it seems to be going in the right direction. We're developing 53 lodges.
Oh my goodness. Can I see this area?
Yeah, we'll take you up there to go and have a look at it.
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely.
Oh my goodness, let's head there.
Let's head
Okay,
there now.
perfect.
Fantastic. So you were mentioning your legacy project, and is this where we're heading to right now?
This is where we're heading.
Yeah.
So this is super exciting for us. It's been a long journey of discovery, and when we first left London and came up to Yorkshire, so aware of the beauty of where we lived, and we are in this exceptional situation. We're literally on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales National Park. So it's an incredible opportunity as a launch pad for visitors to come and experience this amazing wilderness. And here we are. This is it. This is what we've got our heart set on.
So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a destination so that people can come here from, generally all around the world. We're not buying lodges off the shelf. We've designed these things from the ground up. They are based on the field barns that are up in the Yorkshire Dales. So they're 1, 2 and 3 bedroom units.
Okay.
And they're going to be really, really spaced out. And this is a big site here. Our caravan park next door, which has got 120 pitches on, is a third smaller than this. So we're actually going to put 53 lodges on there if we get planning permission.
Right.
We're going to have a lake in here. There's a natural watercourse that goes underneath the ground. We're going to open that up. We're going to have a wild swimming lake. We want to have a yoga space. We want to have various, various different other catering options up here that we can move around. On an evening like this, you can just feel what it would be like to be up here.
Yeah.
Doing some yoga. Doing a swim, and then I might have
sort of the first retreat for me.
Oh, I would love that.
Okay, done.
I mean,
done.
yes. I could sort of rent out the entire sort of 53 lodges. How many people I could get? A lot.
A lot.
Could I?
A lot.
Yeah, this will be a sort of groundbreaking development for this part of the world, and we want to make sure that when we do it, it's we've done it to our very best ability.
Right. And it's also, it sounds like it's sympathetic to the landscape.
100%. So
it's got a lot of natural assets which we're making the most of, in our plans.
Right.
And these modular buildings, they will be bought on site, assembled.
Right.
With a very light touch on the natural environment. We've gone to the utmost lengths to honour and respect this magical place that we live in.
Yeah.
And it is magical. I mean, it's beautiful. I suspect I'm one of the sort of first visitors to be able to.
You've had an inside.
You've got exclusive access.
To see the dream.
Yeah.
To see the dream.
To see the dream.
Brilliant. Now, is, I'm just going to ask, we are kind of, there's a nice walk, is that right, back to the house?
Yeah, there is. I mean, we're literally, the house is just on the other side of those trees. We just go up the walk here
This was the
and
original
you're into the park.
entrance to Constable Burton. So the caravan park gates were the original entrance. This track was part of the driveway, and we will now snake down, wander through the parkland and approach Constable Burton Hall as you would have
meant
first
to have done,
approached it.
From that picture that we saw before.
Exactly.
Right here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How brilliant.
We don't have the horse and cart, but you know, we can pretend.
We'll pretend. I'm going to just imagine.
Yes.
I'm going to go back
Yes.
300 years
Yes.
and imagine walking
Yeah.
back. Yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Yeah, exactly. And look at this.
I know. Amazing.
What an absolute joy to visit Constable Burton, and I so look forward to returning one day soon to stay in those amazing bespoke lodges and explore the nearby Yorkshire Dales as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to sharing more historic house visits with you very, very soon. But in the meantime, do consider becoming an American Viscountess patron. It's because of our wonderful patrons that we're able to produce such high quality productions. Here you'll get exclusive behind the scenes content, personalized messages, American Viscountess merchandise, and all the episodes early and ad-free. It is a brilliant community of like-minded people who also love historic houses as much as I do. So do check out the details down below at patreon.com/American Viscountess. Bye, everybody.